everybody. How you doing? I was worried that we were going to have uh, a slow crowd or like people slow to join just because I forgot to post about it on Facebook, but it looks like we have a decent number of people in. So I will get to your comments in just a moment because I noticed you guys are also very talkative tonight, which I like. But the first thing I wanted to mention is League of Cryptids number 3. I will post the link. Oops. I will post the link in the chat. Even if you guys don't plan on backing the book, please go and click notify me on launch because that helps me with the algorithm. Okay, so let's see. Where did my screen go? Huh. Okay, yeah, I don't know why my image isn't on the screen. There we go. Hi, everybody. Uh, and yes, I'm wearing a new shirt tonight because Angie lost my Kiss shirt. So she bought me a new one. Or, well, we don't know if Angie lost it or not, but we think she did. So first up, we have Dan saying, "Good evening. Just finishing up. Finishing. Did I say finishing up an omelet my wife made us for lunch?" Okay, so either you had a really late lunch, or you either you had a really late lunch, or it took you a really long time to eat this omelet. I'm not sure which. Joe's saying, "Good evening, folks." Sarah's saying, "Evening. Sounds good, Dan." Carl says, "Good evening." Sarah says, "Evening, Joe. Oh, Dark Pope. Dang, we're just piling in at the same time." Yeah, I've heard a lot of news stories about the Pope, Carl. Are they talking about you when they talk about, when I hear about the Pope on the news? Sarah's saying, "That's awesome. I would be in here while in my room in Lafayette, but COVID hit where I am. Quarantined. Hopefully, I'll be in here from there soonish." Okay, sorry, that was a confusing sentence. Hopefully, I'll be in here from there soonish. This bug is net. So, plan is still to move in with Brian K. Morris and Cookie. Stay safe, Sarah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you have COVID as well, Sarah. Oh man, we're gonna get a rundown of the omelet. It was 2 inches thick, loaded with brie and Irish cheddar, onions, and looks like red and green roasted chili peppers. I'm officially stuffed like I was Winnie the Pooh at a toy store. Ah, okay. Sarah said she already caught it, and my dad is my ride everywhere. So, well, and BKM and Cookie are going to her mom's Memorial Day weekend. We can't be carrying this there to her either. That makes sense. Carl's saying, "Oh no." Sarah says it's time for a food coma. Carl is saying, "Sounds good, Dan." Donna's saying, "Hi, everyone." Carl says, "Hey, sweetie." I'm not sure if he's talking to me or if he's talking to Donna. I don't know. What do you guys think? Uh, Donna says, "Ack, Sarah. EIR be with you." I don't know what EIR is, but I promise I won't nod off until Grant finishes his show. Well, that's polite of you. I'll try to be exciting. So Sarah is saying, "We found out that it's going around at the nursing home across the street from us, where my grandma is, and that's how it got into the house. Mom's been in bed for a full week now, and still is. Oh my god. Old people getting COVID is bad." Donna said, Just finished some hot dark chocolate with fluff. Amazing stuff. That honestly does sound amazing. Did you put any whiskey in there, or was it just hot chocolate? So Dan is saying, good news. Lindsay's collarbone has healed enough for her to cook, vacuum the house, make the bed, and now she put the sling back on and sits and watches Britcoms. Well, that's good, I guess. I mean, I don't know. None of those things sound like things she probably wants to do, but but I guess that's good that her collarbone is healing. Sarah says, thanks, Dark Mrs. Ooh, Donna, yum. Donna says, glad to hear that, Dan, and yeah, she should still wear the sling at times. Sarah says, the ending part of that sounds awesome. Glad she's mobile. I think we've all talked about how we like British comedies. I grew up on British comedies because I lived in a small town without cable. So on a Friday and Saturday night, uh, uh, PBS was pretty much all I had to watch. Sarah's saying that it can heal wrong. So I'm assuming that means it didn't heal wrong, or it can take longer to heal. But she's glad to hear of progress. Trey is saying, "Hey, yeah." Dan said he thinks she's still pushing it a bit. Another 2 weeks in the sling and doing as little as possible is what I keep telling her. Retired nurses are the worst at following medical recommendations. Yeah, she sounds like she might be a little bit stubborn. Sarah's saying, hi, Trey. So is Carl. Sarah says, indeed they are. Dan says, almost time for Grant. Well, guess what, Dan? It's time for Grant. Sarah says, LOL, the stubborn and restlessness gets in the way, and then life brings reality and down. Yeah, good thinking for trying to get her to cut back at least a little bit. Showtime. Don't forget to like and share, folks. I know you're subscribed. Thank you again for always remembering to say that. And to be perfectly honest with you, sometimes I forget to remind people. Dan is saying like, share, and subscribe. Sarah's also saying, oh, and contribute to the Kickstarters if you're able to. Yes, yes, yes. Like the show, craps swoop in a way no one will enjoy. I don't know if that's true, Sarah. I mean, a lot of people, I don't know. Knowing our crowd, I don't know if cracking a whip will necessarily discourage any of them. Even COVID isn't shutting me up right now. Well, that's the nice thing about typing, right? You don't have to use your sore throat, right? But apparently, Sarah is stir crazy. Yeah, I know it must be frustrating because it feels like moving out of your parents' house keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. But who knows? Maybe one day. Oh, and here is the link for League of Cryptids #3. I have a feeling that all of you guys have already are already following it, but I figured I'd remind you guys. And Dan is saying that he likes our shows and he will search them out. Rest assured. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Carl's saying that's a different Pope. Okay, I got a little bit nervous, Carl, when I heard on the news that the Pope had passed away, that they got a new one in the United States, and I was worried, like, oh God, am I going to have to find somebody new to make jokes about redheads? Sarah says that she loves that the profile picture for the page shows Carl in a black Pope hat too. I haven't seen that one. Sarah says, thanks, Donna. So, okay, so apparently I'm dumb. Sarah's saying Ayer is a deity's name. Oh, cool, 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 cool. And it's pronounced Ayer, and the Norse god of health. Dan Hulliford said, I ate a quarter of the omelet for breakfast and another quarter for my late supper. She ate the rest. This must have been one huge supper. I don't know. From what I've seen, though, Dan is kind of a skinny guy, so maybe he doesn't eat that much. Sarah says, thank you for putting words to my thinking, Dark Mrs. The head is totally fogged. I remember from the one time I had COVID. Yeah, it's it does weird stuff to your brain, right? Donna says, welcome, Dark Mistress. Air is part of my pantheon. And Sarah says, cracks the whip and no one gets the whip. Might do the trick. Laughing my fucking ass off. Oh, I also don't want to forget to mention that the show is sponsored by the Independent Creator Directory. I know Joe has been doing a lot of updates to the Independent Creator Directory. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, you really should. What is it? IndieCD.net. I think that's. I should really. I don't know. I have it saved in my history, so I never have to. I never have to look it up, but you can look it up on Facebook, etc. But I'm pretty sure all of you guys are already on IndieCD, right? But yeah, the Independent Creator Directory is a really cool thing. Like we've said, it's basically the Internet Movie Database, but for people who are creative in some way, either going on to, either writing games, coming up with art, that sort of thing. IndieCD.org. Okay, I'm going to put that link into the. I can't believe I forgot IndieCD.org. Oh, I didn't scroll down and see more. Yes, Dark Mrs. I know you can't think through the fog very well, Donna. I'm just glad you clarified error. Joe Bachman is correcting me saying .org. Yes, I apologize for getting the address wrong. Dan says, skinny guy, I weigh about 200 pounds and I'm only 5'11". Lindsay is a good cook and I'm not that bad of one as well. Oh, okay. That's about the same height and weight as me, Dan. Dan is saying IndieCD even let me in. Yeah, if they let me and Dan in, they'll let pretty much anybody in. So tonight I am going to work on. What am I working on? I am working on a new issue of Memoirs of the Morbid. And I am coloring, but in black and white, if that makes sense. So here is the page. Whoops. So this is a horror story that takes place in a office, and I hope you guys all check it out when it comes out because it should be pretty fun. Tonight I'm putting textures over all of this stuff. So how was everybody's weekend? I'm not gonna lie to you, my weekend was a little bit rough. I worked very hard this week. I made a lot of money, but it was hard work. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I did a lot of concerts this week. Why is that not? Why is that not showing up? There we go. So I don't want. Oops. Click on that later. I don't know if I want that to be that dark. I might go over it with a little bit of a lighter color. Stretchy brush. What did you guys do this weekend? Anything new? You guys staying out of trouble, or are you guys busy getting into trouble? So this is going to be a black and white comic book. That's why uh, I'm making the sky gray. It's not actually that depressing in this neighborhood, but I hope you like the fun, like a little bit more loose style. I was going to draw around this thing, but I think I'll just draw it and then go back and do whatever I want to. What do they call that? Like a water tower? The weekend was cold and rainy, but I did get a few things done despite the rain. I'm curious if you still have, you're still working on your project. I know you were working on a few little things outside. Um, Let me know if that's still going on, or if you've moved on to bigger and better things. I hope you guys enjoy watching me color. I hope this doesn't. I hope this isn't too boring for you sitting watching me color. If you guys get bored, you can always talk amongst yourselves, of course. I worked a bunch of different concerts this weekend. Um, in particular, I worked the ACDC concert. I also worked some stand-up comedian that I'd never really heard of. I think his name was Enrique Iglesias. Uh, yeah, but the bottom line is that I'm very very tired now. It's time to color this thing in. I want this to be a little bit darker, or maybe a lot darker. How about that? We all know what Sarah did this weekend because she has COVID, so obviously she stayed inside and just tried to heal. I do hope you're feeling better soon, Sarah. Um, I know COVID can be a tough one. I hope your grandmother's all right too, because the elderly really shouldn't get COVID if they can at all help it. I mean, nobody should get it, obviously, but especially not people who are already vulnerable to begin with. It is not good, right? Right, guys? I think we all agree COVID is not good. I hear Angie in the bedroom. I thought that she had gone to bed, but she must have gotten back up. She was having a little bit of a headache. I hope she's feeling better now, though. I will let you know if she's. I'm going to ask her right now if she's feeling better. So Dan is saying that he tried the electronic lawnmower and drew more blueprints for a cabinet for above the charcoal grill. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I was wondering if you were still working on your grill. I remember you were working on that pretty hard, and um, blueprints for a cabinet would be interesting. I'm assuming you're going to have to make anything that's outside uh, waterproof. Sarah says, big and fluffy. All I know is a lot of people went to this show. It was at one of the biggest auditoriums in Pittsburgh. So he must be pretty popular. Carl said that that's the comedian that Donna posts all the time about in the humor group. So I don't know if I've seen her post about Fluffy, but I have seen. I saw that somebody posted Lucy Darling, which is cool because Angie and I are going to see her like in about a month, so that's pretty cool. Sarah says that he's a major stand-up comedian. Yes, I got that impression, especially from the fact that he's playing one of the biggest auditoriums. I mean, he's playing the hockey arena here in Pittsburgh, so I don't know why I said he's going to. He already performed at the hockey arena. Um, yeah, to be honest with you, I had worked really late the night before because I was working the AC/DC concert, and then um, and then I didn't want to get up the next morning and work another gig, but I figured because he was a stand-up comedian, it would be an easy shift. Because I mean, I was like, how much stuff could a stand-up comedian have? But unfortunately, it was a lot. The setup was a lot more involved than I thought it would be. So I got it taken care of, though. Was it was a long week. I'll put it that way. I am very sore, very worn out. Uh, I need to be doing more yoga um, to help these aching joints. Um, so I want the color for this building to be halfway between the sky and the window. I'm gonna just guesstimating, say whoop, whoop. I think it's that one. I did mail out more of my comic book out today. That is from the Kickstarter a few months ago. Um, so that's good. It makes me feel good to be putting out those comic books into the world, right? And honestly, after I get done here, I'll probably uh, put more work into bagging and boarding the comics, and maybe I'll even print out a few labels, get them ready for the post office. I know it's the life of a comic book creator is always exciting, right? I know you guys know it. I know it. You know it. I'm sure you guys are all jealous. I get to sit around bagging and boarding comics. So Sarah says, I don't think my GMA has it. My mom got it and has been bedridden for almost. I'm sorry. GMA stands for grandma. My mom got it and has been bedridden for almost into a second week. We just found out that it was yesterday evening. We were both talking about it, the same symptoms and everything. The same symptoms, and found out that from the nursing home's top bosses. So she's talking about Gabriel Garcia's. He was big and fluffy before he lost a lot of weight. I didn't know he lost a lot of weight. That's interesting. Title of some of his stand-up, if you ever want to hear that one. Fluffy's first name is Gabriel. And Dan said everything in the barbecue patio is under a 12-foot by 12-foot metal roof, but there aren't any walls except for a couple of places where I shall have shelves. Those are about 4 by 8 enclosure to weatherproof shelves. Wow, so this is going to be a pretty impressive thing, right? So what's your favorite thing to barbecue, Dan? I'm curious. I know. Sounds like you must take barbecue pretty seriously if you're putting this much effort into it, right? At least that would be my guess. I don't know. I think I made this too small. Let's see if this works better. Yeah, that works a lot better. But I mean, my favorite things are to barbecue are steaks, but I'm only allowed to eat steaks on rare circumstances, no pun intended, because I have heart conditions and I really shouldn't be eating that much. I really shouldn't be eating that much red meat. But oh my god, Um, I know how to marinate the steaks just right, um, and I cook them over the charcoal, so it has that really great charcoaly flavor that I love. Oh man, there's nothing better than a good steak. There really isn't. But like I said, I can only eat it on special occasions because they aren't super good for you. Um, I know everything that's fun is not good for you, right? Oh well. Everything that's fun is not good for you. I could turn it into a song, couldn't I? It's Gabriel Iglesias. Was I saying his name wrong earlier? I'm sorry. Big, Fat, and Fluffy, I think is the title of his huge stand up tour a while back. Yes. what Donna just said. That was just the title of the tour at the time. Derp, Fogged, and Migraine. Donna is typing slowly because she's only one-handed. Callie is asleep on my left arm. That sounds really, really cute. And Sarah must agree with me because she said, doll. Doll. Cats really do add so much joy to all of our lives, don't they? I know they can be buttheads when they want to be, but there's nothing better than if you've had a rough day and you feel like the whole world is against you. You just sit down and a cat curls up next to you, and it's the best feeling in the world, right? So I try to leave a little bit of the brush strokes in this, just so it looks a little bit more, gives it a little bit of a texture, right? But then it's like, I'm leaving a little bit too much brush strokes, and now it's starting to get distracting. Then you have to go back over and erase those, right? Or not really erase them, but you know what I mean. The perils of being a comic creator, right? This part, if you're wondering why I'm leaving this part rough like that, the reason why is because that's going to be uh, cropped in the finished drawing. Now this is going to be more difficult because I have to draw the little bricks too. Hey Angie, are you feeling any better? Are you going to go to bed? Okay. I love you. Good night. No, man. You know I'm doing my show, right? I love you too. So that was a guest appearance from the lovely Angie Dudas. Sarah's teeheeing. I don't remember what I said that deserved a teehee, but thank you. Dan is saying charcoal grill on one side and cast iron stove in the back. I just like cooking, and I grew up with aunts and grandmoms cooking on coal burning stove. I think my first official meal will be pot roast. Oh my god, that sounds so good. Oh my god, there's nothing better than a good pot roast. Well, except for maybe a good steak. But yeah, I love both of those meals. Um, I'm guessing if you make a pot roast, you're gonna have what? Uh, Besides the pot roast, you're probably gonna have carrots, um, potatoes, gravy, all the stuff that's so freaking good. Yes, I love a good pot roast, Dan. Yeah, I don't know why the cursor's gone crazy there. My computer is plugged in because Joe did tell me if I don't plug in my computer while I'm streaming, it does make the computer go slowly, which I don't want. Okay, it seems to have calmed down a little bit. While we're waiting for it to calm down the rest of the way, I'm going to read your comments. Sarah says she hasn't had a cat in over 20 years, but yes, I love my kitties. Donna says cute but hot. Oh, I'm assuming you mean your cat sleeping on your arm. Dan says think Cowboy Kent, but Tennessee hillbilly instead of Oklahoma cowboy. Well, I'm excited to hear about whatever you decide to cook on your new grill. If I lived closer, I would insist on you uh, inviting me over. Maybe if I win the lottery, I'll come visit you down there in Georgia. But have you posted any pictures on Facebook, Dan? I would like to see the progress that you're making with this um, this grill that you're making. But it's good to stay busy. I think you're going to do good in retirement, Dan, because you have lots of hobbies, right? I know with my mom and my dad. My dad had lots of hobbies, and my mom did not. So my dad liked being retired way more than my mom did. Or I should say, my dad likes being retired more than my mom does, because they're both still retired. My mom, I don't think enjoys it as much as my dad does. She doesn't like sitting around the house all day, which means that she is the opposite of me because I could sit around the house all day. I never get bored, but I have lots of stuff to do. There's always drawing or books to read. I never understood people who say that retirement is boring. I feel like there's always books to read, there's always movies to watch, there's always stuff to draw. There's stuff out there to do if you look for it, you know what I mean? I don't think that I would ever get bored if I were retired, but you also have to remember I've never really liked any of the jobs that I've had. The sad truth of life, right? Sorry, I'm trying not to get depressing, but that is how I see things. So Dan's giving me his pot roast. recipe. He puts beef, carrots, celery, potatoes, gravy, whatever size Lindsay wants me to make. Hopefully, there will be deviled eggs. Hobbies: I'm a writer. I have 5 more books to finish. Oh, I didn't. I wasn't implying that writing was a hobby, like in a pejorative way. I was just saying um, it's something that you can do other than your main job, so to speak. I guess now being a writer is your main job, right? Writers never retire, right? They just sit and write. I haven't decided if I'm going to go to my writers group tomorrow. I think I told you guys that I'm part of a writers group. Um, and it's okay. Um, but nobody submitted any stories for tomorrow, so I haven't decided if I'm going to go to my writers group tomorrow. I'm curious if any of you guys have ever belonged to a writers group and what you guys think about it. I know Dan has been in a writers group. It can always be interesting hearing other people's. I go back in and make little mistakes like that because I want this to look a little bit rough. You know what I mean? Like I don't want the color to line up with the lines perfectly. And I can even like erase a little bit. So now I'm going to go back and paint some of these bricks. So I need like a thinner brush. Thinner brush. How does that look? Or should I draw the bricks like a darker color? What do you guys think? We'll try that. Then we'll try Adis. Maybe something in the middle. More like Adis. Like Adis or like a that? Do you like my offensive Italian stereotype? You like it like Adis or you like it like a that? I think I like the darker bricks. See if any of you guys have an opinion. Okay, Dan puts onions in his pot roast as well. I would probably leave the onions out. Like, not that I hate onions, but they're not one of my favorite things. Don Dellis shows up. Good evening, Don. How are you today? Everybody saying hi to Don. So Carlos saying Donna and I ran a writers group for about 10 years before we quit. Uh-oh, was there a dramatic story? Donna says we had a storm roll in from the southeast during sunset. It made for some gorgeous colors. That does sound nice. Yeah, it stormed here for a little while too. So Dan is saying that writing is his hobby and he doesn't intend it to be a business. I write because if anything happens to me, the characters and worlds I created will never have all their stories told. And Dan says, I like a little bit of D's and some of those as well. Here comes Herrenberg. And he is saying that he loves my boarded up tenement. There are a lot of writers groups in Pittsburgh. DP was in Scribble House. We did that event at Spirit with them. Which group are you in, or did you not want to say? No, I'm in the same group that DP is in, except that DP hasn't been. For those of you guys who don't know who he's talking about when he refers to DP, he's talking about DP Brown. He's another comic book creator. He does he does a comic book called Theme of Thieves, and he was the one who suggested the writers group that I'm in, and except that he doesn't really go as much as he used to, um, partially because he moved to Atlanta. I mean, he could hook up with Zoom and come in and say, and um, we do broadcast our or not really broadcast, but you know what I mean. We do have the like Zoom IDs, but he chooses not to. But yeah, DP has been on the show before. If you guys want to search my YouTube library, you can find him there. But yeah, he was the catalyst behind me joining this writers group. Yeah, which overall, I think I told you guys there was one guy who wrote a story that I didn't really like, and it was more than just a story. It was a very, very, very long book. And I would say I was philosophically opposed to the very uh, uh, nature of the book and had trouble reading it for that reason. And I didn't feel like I would give any good feedback. So I stopped going for a little while because I knew he was the only one at that time who was really submitting work. And yeah, I was just like, I can't read any more of this very long, very uh, it wasn't even necessarily a bad book. It was just I could not relate to any of the characters in the book. I could not relate to any of the decisions that they were making. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It was not for me. Let's put it that way. But other than that, the writers group has been overall pretty good. I'm curious to hear more, Carl and Donna, about your experiences. So Carl is saying we found the serious writers in our group were too busy, and the rest were wannabes, and they took up a lot of the time and attention. Dan is saying OGOA, Old Gods of Appalachia. Nick Tucker promoted me from mortal to other. Oh, okay. So Herrenberg is saying that it's cool that I'm with Scribble House. They seem pretty chill. The onstage panel discussions were good. And have fun with them. Donna and Herrenberg are saying hello to each other. Um, so that's interesting. So you felt like um, the people who were more serious about it just didn't end up showing up. But then the people who did show up were kind of um, more amateurish. Um, I don't know. Amateurish writing can be fun too. To sit down and say, hey, I think you need to fix this or fix this. Um, there have been a couple times where I went and had my stuff critiqued, and I didn't feel like it was 100% productive. I feel like sometimes you can overwork a story. I'm curious if any of you guys have experience with that, where um, there have been a couple times where I worked and worked and worked on something to the point where I showed it to Angie and I showed it to my editor, and they were both like, "No, we need to go back one draft before this. It was better before you started messing with it." And I'm curious if any of you guys have ever had experience with that. So Carlos saying amateurs are fine. It's the folks who say I want to write a book and then never do anything about it. Yeah, that can be annoying. And let's be honest, that's the majority of people out there, right? Um, the majority of people who say I want to write a book will never end up actually doing it, which is why I always say if you've sat down and written anything, even if it's the worst book in the world, you still need to pat yourself on the back because at the end of the day, we're out there and we're getting stuff done, right? Which is more than we can say for a lot of people. I hope that doesn't make me sound arrogant or elitist, but yeah, I've definitely noticed that as well, Carl. A lot of people say they want to write a book, and then when it comes time to actually do it, it's like, nope, not going to do it. Or they just keep procrastinating and procrastinating. Like I've had like a lot of people message me on Instagram, mostly Instagram, but occasionally Facebook too. Like, how do I go about, you know, you got a lot of comic books now. How did you make all these comic books? Where do you publish them? How do you promote them? And my philosophy on that has always been, a lot of people, um, when I was starting out, were very polite, very generous with their time. In particular, Brian K. Morris, of course, he sat and would talk me through this stuff more than most people. And so my philosophy on that is like I feel like I should always pay it forward. So yeah, so anytime people ask me, for advice on making comic books, I always try to be as helpful as possible. Um, but I'm going to be honest with you. 9 times out of 10, I'll check in on them like 6 months, 7 months, maybe even a year later. And 9 times out of 10, they've done nothing to work towards having a book or a comic book. So Dan is saying basically, Nick thinks I'm an avatar of Odin. There have been crows building a nest outside my office window this month. Oh, interesting. That's cool. So Angie's really into birds. So she puts a lot of bird seed in our backyard. And so I think she mainly does it because like the cats like to watch the birds. But yeah, so Carl was saying meeting once a month. I would ask, so what has everyone written this month? And the answer was nothing. We figured that we were wasting our time. We also did a newsletter that was going out internationally. Ooh. The newsletter was probably why we let it go on so long. Yeah, unfortunately, Carl, I don't. I imagine that there probably are a lot of people who feel the same way you do. You know, you're investing your time into this, and if people aren't interested in helping or contributing, then yeah, at some point you got to ask yourself, why are we doing this? I can totally see that happening. Okay, guys, so it's been almost an hour. Let's take a look at what progress I've made. Okay, I think it looks pretty good so far. Nothing is standing out as being like, oh boy, that looks awful. But thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back again next week. I'm pretty sure we have a guest next week, but I don't remember his or her or their name off the top of my head. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.